Hey, you guys want to see CRT repairs? So I'm going to do a CRT repair. This one has a vertical problem. You guys have seen this monitor many times. It's one that is basically on my bench telling me the time of day. Well, it's finally, after countless years of constant use, it's never turned off. It's finally packed it into the point where I got to do something with it. So let's take a look at this little Samsung. Today I'm going to tackle this little black and white TV that I've been using as a time display for several years. As you can see, it's rolling. So I think we're going to have to change some capacitors in here. So I thought maybe you guys might like to take a look at circuitry. I mean, it's a CRT, so CRTs are CRTs. They all work the same way. It's got a vertical circuit in it, just like everything else. And we have a problem. So I'm going to get this one unmounted. We'll get it taken apart and see if we can figure out why this one is rolling like it is. This is an Ultra TV made in Korea. I guess it's going to be either a Samsung or an LG. I don't know, but I've had this thing for forever. It was given to me, probably 1990, or back in the 80s. It was one of these things that came into the shop, and someone brought it in. They'd used it in their camper or whatever, and it didn't work. And they brought this little piece of junk into the shop and wanted to fix it. And we're told this thing's not worth fixing. Don't fix it. Don't spend any money on it. Let us throw it out for you. That was basically what they would have been told at the time, because something like this would have probably run $100 max to buy, if that, and it wasn't worth fixing. So anyway, I got it, and you can see there was a bracket mounted on here. I used to use this as a monitor for my camera. I used it as an external black and white viewfinder when I was doing weddings, so that I didn't have to keep my eye up to the camera itself. This would have been when I was using cameras such as, I'm going to say, the VX3 or other camcorders like that just had the eyepiece on the back, and having a larger monitor made it just more comfortable to use. When I moved on, I was using the EVW300. I was using the eyepiece on the camera itself. This is Samsung that made this one. You can see it's got a little tiny Samsung tube. This thing has been running 24 hours a day. I never shut it off, right? I just leave it running all the time, displaying the time, because, well, I was trying to burn the picture tube out and burn in the actual screen. And I've got a bit of burn in here, but nothing like I thought it would be. But I just leave it running all the time. Can't be bothered to shut it off. I want to see how long it would go before something went bad. And, well, now we have a vertical problem. So first things first, let's unplug this little tube so that it doesn't get damaged. Like that. And now I can remove the circuit board, sort of. I will keep the second anode connected. I don't need to disconnect that. But I do need to get down to where the vertical circuit is, which is, I think it's down here. I think it's this one. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that's probably it. And there's a couple caps in here that are probably the ones that are causing some trouble. That's the speaker that goes down there. This will be the IF amplifier. See, I had it modified as a monitor. I cut that off to cut off the tuner, and I had added a video input somewhere to it. I forget precisely where I did it, but I did add a video input to this and was using it just as a video monitor for all those years that I used it as a monitor. And then I dragged it back in and set it up as a TV, because my modulator, or my display for the time from the clock, which is basically a BlackBerry. It's an old BlackBerry 10, Z10. It outputs a video signal. Well, actually, it outputs an HDMI signal, and that's converted over to a video signal, and then it's put onto a carrier, and it's sent through the house. And it displays on this little TV as well as a couple of other ones I can bring it up on. It's kind of a way to use little old black and white TVs, which really shouldn't even still be working, but they are. I was looking at the circuitry down here to see what's vertical, what's horizontal. Vertical circuit appears to be down in here. There's some caps down here, so we're going to flip this circuit board up out of the way and then we'll be able to test them. And I think the easiest way to do that will be to unplug these plugs that are plugged in over here that go to the controls for the tuner and the volume, which in this case is just 2 variable resistors. I think that's the only 2, and now I should be able to maybe lift this board out of the way. What else is holding this? Oh, this plug back here. This red one. It goes back there. Now I should be able to flip the board out of the way so I can work on it. I'll just turn that down like that. All right. You can see where I had cut circuits here to put video into it. There's where I took the video in, right there, and I bridged it back in to put the tuner back in. And let's get the ESR meter out and look at some capacitors. The first couple caps I'm going to look at in the vertical circuit. We know which the vertical circuit is because we can tell from where the yoke is connected. So the blue and gray wires, or blue and slate, I guess we should call it by this accurate name, are going down to the circuit board over here. They are going to be the vertical. The other ones go over to this area, which is horizontal. So this is going to be the vertical circuit over here. So the caps I'm going to suspect are causing the problem is going to be either this one or this one or this one or maybe that one. That's going to be probably the horizontal return, that one, and that's probably a non-polarized cap. Am I correct? Is it non-polarized? I believe that's non-polarized. Let's just get a closer look at it here. Yeah, that one's a non-polarized cap, so that's going to be the horizontal return cap. So the vertical ones are going to be these ones over here. Let's just put the meter on and see what they look like in circuit. So we'll check this first one over here. Discharge it first to make sure that there's no charge on anything. 9.9. That looks to be a little bit on the high side. That might be in the horizontal circuit though. I'm just looking at where it's located. Let's check these other ones over here. Let's check this one down here. 0.1. That's probably okay. And let's check a couple of these little ones. There's a little one over here. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a small cap too, not a big one. Yeah, 38 ohms, 36 ohms. I think this one's bad. Let's change this one out. We'll start with this one. And then I'll hook the unit up and test it and see whether it still rolls. Get my solder sucker going here. This one is a 16 volt 10 microfarad and it is measuring 20 ohms. So 10 microfarad at 16 should be no worse than 8, and this one's measuring 20. So let's swap this one out for starters. I have a 10 at 25. That's more than adequate. This is to annoy people. Okay, that's one down. I'm going to check this other one over here. There's a 40, is it 47 or 4.7? I can't see from here. But there's another one over here. I'm going to check this one out down here. I think it's this one. I believe it's right here. I'm going to pull it. This is the 100 at 16 volts, and it's maybe okay, but we'll check it. What is this one going to measure? .3, 116 volts, should be like 0.7, so we're going to change this one while we're at it. I'm going to change the tape while I'm at it too, because that's what that buzzer's for. A 100 at 25 to replace the 100 at 16 that came out. Now, I think at this point, I'll plug the unit in, reconnect all the wires, all the plugs, and we'll plug the unit in and see whether that fixed the problem, because that might be the only two that were bad. There's this other one here, I don't think that's going to be the cause of the problem. So we'll just reconnect everything. Oh, look, this, I had at one point swapped this over. I'd switched the vertical around on here and the horizontal to invert the display. If you look on here, the wires have been cut and reconnected. So at one point I had cut those off, probably to flip it so that the set could be mounted upside down. I think when I had it mounted for a viewfinder, I had it upside down, just the way it was sitting. All right, we'll plug the wires back in here. There's the two connectors that plug in. That one plugs in there, and these two up front for the tuning and volume control, even though the volume is not hooked up to anything. And then the tube socket plugs in. Let's put the circuit board in, plug in the tube socket, and we'll connect up the RF cable and power. And the power cable is one of these ones over here, right there. Let's power this thing up and tune for maximum smoke. Well, that didn't fix it, but then I got to adjust the vertical hold back here as well. One of these controls is vertical hold. Well, actually it's worse now than it was before. It's a lot worse. What did I do to this thing? There's obviously other caps that are bad. Yeah, that's worse than it was by far. There's going to be other filters are bad on here. We'll just look for a few more and see what we can find. Wouldn't you know, my tube socket decided to separate from the board. A couple of the pins look like they just let go. So we're going to have to fix those, as they actually did something. I'll have to fix that up before I go any further. The metal pins let go. I've never seen that happen before. Another little cap over here. I think this might be part of the vertical circuit. Get that out of the way. Be great if I had a schematic, but I don't. So I'm just kind of looking at where the components are in relationship to where the yoke wire is and the output IC. This is the IC here. And looking at some of the small, it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be a small cap. It's not going to be a big one. It's going to be a small one because it's in the ramp circuit. This one's a 4.7 at 50. So this one here is 13. That one needs to be changed out. We'll change out that one. 4.7 at 50. Alright, after changing that one, my picture's a little more stable. I still have some issues here, but it's not rolling like it was. So we are certainly making an improvement. Let's check some more of those caps in that vertical circuit. So this is a print of the actual schematic for the vertical IC. And as you can see, there's a 1 microfarad cap on the oscillator off of pin 1. I don't think I've checked that one. 1 microfarad cap off pin 2. It says tantalum on here, so that might be a cap in there. I think we changed the 116 volts. I changed that one out. And then there's a 22 at 16 volts off of pin 6, which is in the output. So the vertical output is pin 8 and pin 6 is a return. So it's going to be one of these that's causing my fold up. So let's take a look at the layout here. So pin 1 is down here closest to me on this side. And there's that little cap there. I think I changed that one out, didn't I not? Or didn't I? Might not have changed that one. Let's just see where it goes. Pin number 1 is going to a cap. And that is this one over here, and it's not been changed. So let's just take a look at this one over here, which is on the oscillator. It's going between the sync separator, which is off pin 16, and pin 1. I'm going to look at this 1000 microfarad 25 volts, which is off of the vertical output, off of the yoke. This is going to the yoke here. Right off the vertical output. 1000 microfarads, 25. It's this one right over here. I've got it unsoldered. Let's just pull this one out and see what this one does, how this one looks. I actually have it's 1000 at 16 on here. Let's just see how bad this one is, if it's any good. So 1000 at 16, according to this, 1000 at 16 should be like 0.09, and this one's measuring 0.1. So I think this is not going to be what's causing the fold over on the picture. Definitely not going to be this one. So we'll put this one back in. I don't want to change parts unnecessary on this little thing because, well, it's mine and I don't want to spend any money on it. I'm cheap. I'm the guy that if I go into a fast food place and they say, do you want a bag for that? I say, not if it's going to cost me 30 cents. I don't. Because it seems like here these days, everywhere you turn, someone's trying to charge you for something, right? Charge you 30 cents for a paper bag. 25 cents plus 5 cents tax. All because they want to eliminate plastics. They want to eliminate the use of plastic bags and make you use a paper bag, and then the businesses want to charge you for that paper bag because it costs them more money than a plastic bag did. I mean, all the other caps in here are looking okay. Like, nothing's testing bad. They're all testing within spec. Every one of them that I've tested, except for the few that I changed, and well, it improved it, but it didn't fix it. I think after changing those caps, I don't know whether there was a connection when I took one out to measure it and put it back in, but it's now looking pretty damn good. Considering how bad this looked, it's a scratch in the plastic cover. Considering how bad this looked when I started and how good it's looking now, I'd have to say that this is a success because it was rolling constantly before and was severely distorted. And after changing those, what did I change? Three caps? Was it three? 3 caps, and I resoldered a few connections. And, well, it's looking a lot better. It's pretty bright in here, so it washes out the picture. Normally I keep it, you know, turned down like that just so I don't want to see the gray. I just want to see the clock display. So I usually keep it like that. And again, it is quite bright in here. If I shielded it, it looks fine. So I'm going to end it now. That's fixed. So this thing's been running 24 hours a day, just providing me with the internet time in the shop here. Just a way I can waste power, I guess, and put my old BlackBerry, my Z10 to use. Runs without a battery. Just has a SIM card in it that's not activated, but it's enough that it can pull the network time off of the network and give me basically time that's right down to the second and never have to worry about it. That's funny because this particular clock app, there's a bug in the app. Whenever the date hits the 31st on any month, it just sits there and flips all the way through. Constantly just flip, 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 flip until the first rolls along. So there's a bug in the software that they never fixed when they released this clock. Anyway, this one's now, as you can see, producing a very acceptable picture. So I'm going to throw it back together and put it back where it belongs, which is over my workbench, so that it tells me the time. Anyway, that's this little cute TV made by Samsung. I've had this thing forever. It was given to me many, many moons ago because, again, it was something that the person that originally owned it didn't want to fix it. Or the shop told them it's not worth fixing, just get it out of here. And I ended up with it, and I used it as a monitor for my video camera for when I was out shooting weddings, and I used it as an external monitor. I'm just going to put the screw in the bottom here to hold the circuit board in place. Used it as a monitor for my camera, and when I did that, I actually inverted the yoke. I inverted both the vertical and the horizontal, and the reason I did that was because the way it was mounted to the top of the camera. And I think what it was back in the day when we were using analog cameras, high 8, was the flyback transformer sitting close to the camera caused interference to the picture. So we mounted it upside down, and I inverted the yoke, horizontal and vertical, so the picture was right side up because I was using it as a monitor. We mounted it over top of the camera like that to use as a viewfinder, because that got the horizontal circuit a few inches further away, because when it was sitting right on top of the camera, I had a bracket to mount it. When it was sitting right on top of the camera, the horizontal circuits were affecting the picture, and you could see it in the recorded tape. So I flipped it over. That was my little ingenious way of doing it, and I just swapped the wires for both the horizontal and the vertical to make it to display an upside down picture, rather than rotate the yoke up and down, because then I have to fiddle fart around with things. But that was my poor man's viewfinder, was just to do that. Anyway, this thing just goes back together like this, and I'll get this thing mounted back over the bench, and we'll be looking at the time on this thing for many more years to come, until that picture tube finally gives out. And that's the whole thing. I'm going to run this thing until the tube is shot. I don't know how many years I've had it sitting in the shop running 24 hours a day, but it's been many, many years. It's probably been 6, 7 years. I don't remember. I don't remember when I put this in for to display the time. I have to go back and look at some of my old videos, but it's been sitting in here for a long time. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.